Sorry for that. Let's continue with the game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
What do you
mean?
mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
In the meeting room. Heh. Weird. I want my
Stanley
boss.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
That's correct. We need the box.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here
that
it
is
was.
correct.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Okay, guys, let's do this. Weird. Just a Okay, sorry for that. Just continue. Kind of weird. Hey, but I like these details. I like the fact that it gives you all the details. Room 416. I need to find that room. Thank you, good luck. Nearby a fireplace, somewhere both red and blue. I know where that is. Stairs, something to do with stairs. I think I know what it is. A large room, a lot of boxes. Okay. Idea. I think I have an idea.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yay!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Yay! Woo! I think I'm going to connect all of them. Ooh. Ooh! Enter. Nothing's changed, which makes me sad, by the way. I would like that there is some sort of secret here.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
All the answers.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
That is correct. Another.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Yay! We're only missing 2 more, guys. We're only missing 2 more.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
You like my new movements? I'm kind of a crap right now.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Who knows?
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Everything will be fine. Funny!
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Which one I picked?
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
I love dogs.
Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, that bird is cool though. Hey, I was looking at the birds. That was a weird ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, I need the employee 416 so I can get more clues.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
By the way, there's a manner that you can climb one of the desks and jump out of the window.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
I embraced the bucket. I'm one with the bucket. Oh, wait. I want to access it.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Yes, we don't need to question whether the bucket is right or not. Hey, another figurine! How can we reach that, though? But okay, that's another figurine.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Okay. I pick up the phone, Mr. Bucket.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
It's not that I believe that it can speak. It can speak, okay? Stop bullying my bucket. Dude, this apartment is nice. I would kill to have something similar. It doesn't need to be just like a little bit smaller and still be okay with me. But look, you have everything. Oh well, the only thing that you're missing is the thing for cleaning your what I'm supposed to do here? Oh, okay.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Shut up, it's not in my head. The bucket actually talks. Okay, I'm not crazy. I know that I'm not crazy. Hi, bucket.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
No, I'm not gonna listen to you. The bucket is the best thing that happened to this game. And I'm not getting rid of it, okay? Now say with me, long live the bucket. And I'm bucket lord for you, by the way. Okay, where is the bucket then? Oh.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me.
Yes, I can, but
it's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it.
Can also contain
it doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Screw you. It's better than you.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
It's cold. You should touch it. You will feel his power once you do it.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
It is a powerful bucket. You don't get it.
I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Be rated as 18 plus, because you have to admit.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Really... Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
And mine. Okay? Mine. No, I don't want to work. I mean, if I have my bucket, then yes. Okay, guys, let's continue.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Turn off computer to... Goes.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
But no.
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
This is scary.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
said... Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone?
Because I wanted
Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
It's not funny for me.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is.
No, I don't want to see it.
Let's take a look.
Don't put it. You better don't put that.
What is comedic timing?
I hate you.
What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Dunny with the funny. I'm Dunny with the funny, okay.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey,
Yeah,
goodness,
like
this
that.
video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter.
right.
I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Back here? Okay. Oh, really? Disgusting.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Yeah, that's correct. Don't overthink. It's absurd. Don't overthink, my brother. I want to open one of these.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already?
Yeah.
No, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this.
That
There was
is correct.
supposed to be a build-up to this point.
Weird.
A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately
it's not your
after the
fault.
2
Well,
doors
maybe
room.
yes.
What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing.
Nobody.
I'm not
gives you
even the
that title
lowliest joke-telling whelp. I
other
think
than yourself.
I need to go back and rewatch that instructional
Compare.
video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Oh my god.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I just want to see what happens if I do it one more time.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
That seems to be the case. Okay.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley.
It's really my
I'm going
fault?
to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison.
Did you see that I don't have the bucket
let me
then?
try that again,
That I
Stanley.
will be carrying the bucket.
I heard that you are pale with shame
Weird.
over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos.
No, you don't need more videos. Great.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
The end is never the end. The end is never the end.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
That is
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this no?
No.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Okay, don't fall.
getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anmarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anmarines. None of us can.
Okay. I wish I could go there with that door, but I don't think that I can fall with the weight there. It's too much of a risk. Why I feel that. Okay, let's go. What is this? What is this place? Weird. Ooh, this is really old. Stop. Hello.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track.
Take 295.
Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes.
You sure about that?
The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling.
It is the same thing.
And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's
Please don't
no
make anything
explanation
crazy.
for it.
We have one. We need to find
Still
one then.
Haven't figured out
Make
why
one
I
explanation.
see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes.
I don't know, you have a YouTube
It's
channel?
unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket.
So much?
This is my golden ticket.
So
But
you
I
can
have to
buy
be careful,
more buckets.
because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me.
Who are you?
What's that? Who's there?
It's the bucket.
Caporata.
They killed the bucket's owner.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Doo-doo. Everything feels better with our bucket friend.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
That is correct.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go
Don't go
somewhere
to the
else.
meeting-
The
the
cargo
somewhere
lift,
else.
yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Yeah. So the bucket ordered me to jump out of there. That's the reason why I do it. Let's continue.
No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
I don't want to. Can I go? You insult my friend, and I don't like that there is a zone that cannot be used as a bucket. What is
now
this
then,
bucket?
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
I knew it. I knew it.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
I knew it also.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
I think no.
Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Okay then.
Is this a bucket?
Okay. No. I'm wrong. Right?
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
I knew it.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Really? How can it be both things at the same time?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless, is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I
But
can't
you
have
cannot
that. I'm
take my
sorry.
bucket.
But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No, don't you
Okay,
dare to.
here we go.
No, 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 no.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
That
Every
seems to be
single
the
thing in
case.
the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And
Me
you,
neither.
Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the
Really?
fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll
Okay.
know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Okay. That was weird.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Just
meeting
one
room.
more.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, wait. It's different.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just
You will see.
smiled. Anywhere they went together would be Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
But the
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I wanted to grab it, but no. We're just missing one.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked
No.
upstairs to the boss's office.
Hello.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours.
And that
He
I'm
might
carrying
be
a
fined for
bucket.
that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then
That is true.
something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
No, because I
He
have
looked
my
down at the
bucket.
bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
No.
That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the
It's-
rooms
it's
were
too hard.
repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance
is
now,
my
he heard it
bucket?
calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Where?
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to
special
me,
bucket.
Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
From
The
his
real
mind.
bucket was inside of
knew
him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
No! Okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
That found the bucket.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Okay, guys, we're gonna leave it here. It's been cool. See you next time.